Hey everybody, getting into the rack. I'm on mute here. I'm going to run through the common room here where the hustling arena is, and you're going to see some bar below that name.
Okay, iPacks, that'll be enough of that shit.
That's a new, forgive the language, that's a new thing.
Holy shit.
People in here, so we're not going to stay. But iPacks, one of the developers, is in playing. That's really the only new thing that I need to visually show as to what I'm going to talk about today with the updates that came through. The second thing, I'll explain what the bar is. The bar that you saw is a experience bar, basically, like a health bar. So, like mine is semi-pro, so it's like less than half full because I'm just barely below or at the halfway mark as far as the experience gains go. It doesn't mean that I'm a great player because, hey, if you've watched my other videos and watched any of my plays on Black Hole Pool, you'll know I'm not a great player and I don't win a majority of my games, but you do get experience every time you play. So your bar will fill up as you gain rank systems, and it goes all the way to master level, which is the final level, and your blue bar would be completely full. This is great because if you have questions that you need to ask somebody, you can look at their bar and say, okay, well, that person has a bar that's like 3/4 of the way full. They've obviously played a lot of games. If I have a question about this game, I can probably ask them. It makes you a little bit approachable in that regard because obviously you've played enough games to be able to reach that mark. Second thing that I'll mention is that aim assist is currently not available. It's not available in here, and it's not available in the hustling arena either. I think they got rid of it just due to some competition complications. Whereas like somebody might have their aim assist off when they start this 10,000 stake match, and then all of a sudden it comes down to the last couple shots and they turn it on, and you were under the impression that you were going to be playing somebody who did not have aim assist enabled, and then all of a sudden they're aim assisting to make sure that they give themselves an edge to get that last shot in to win the game. So I think what I've heard is that they're considering making, like there used to be various floors for dollar amounts that you wanted to play for, coin amounts, the rack coin amounts. I think they're going to enable a second section for people that want to play with aim assist on to be on that floor. So there might be, maybe they're going to make a double door option where you can choose this door or that door. Or maybe the portal will have, like it used to, it would have various floors that you could go to choose different stakes amounts, except this time it'll be, do you want to play with aim assist or do you want to play without? So that is what I've heard, but not directly from a developer. I want to make that clear. So it's something that's being discussed, as I understand. The next thing to mention is that the YouTube player is currently not available. Apparently, it was causing some conflict with the gameplay, where it was causing lag or glitches. I don't know what caused that to happen, but it did. So they've removed the YouTube player. I hope they bring it back. Some form of it. I hope they bring back the shared YouTube player because I think that the shared YouTube player is fantastic. Great benefit for the VIP room and would attract a lot of people to want to come in. And I know a lot of people do enjoy the YouTube player. As a matter of fact, a comment on one of my other videos had a question specifically, hey, did you notice that the YouTube player is gone? And yes, I did. It was the first thing I noticed because obviously you walk into your VIP room or even go into the hustling arena and all you see is the blank screen and there's no interacting with it at all. So it's very noticeable that it's not here. And I know when I'm in here practicing just by myself, I like having my music play or watch a movie or watch other YouTubers, which I do quite frequently. So hopefully they do bring that back. That's a great feature and people always love to have it. Another commenter has mentioned and replied in response to me about how easy do he commented that he thought that the break queue should be afforded to all players upon starting the game because it's quite a barrier to overcome to get your first break queue. And his suggestion was that the house queue be usable as a good break queue as well. And there is a difference between breaking with the house queue and breaking with the break queue. Because if you're playing against somebody who's automatically going to get a shot in after your break before you get a chance to actually try any shots on the table because you failed to make a ball on the break, then that certainly makes a difference. So here is, we'll just go from one level here, a break queue, and just going from center, and I'll try to keep my shot consistent. My chances of making a ball in on this break are higher than making a ball with the house cue, which this is. Again, I'll try to be consistent. That's actually not too terrible of a break. Yeah. Breaking from the side, I notice it more. But the break from a regular break cue is there is a difference. So my suggestion generally would be with the starting coins that the player makes, if they do implement some type of achievement system, I think it would be cool if they were to make it so that the first cue you buy, so let's say there's an achievement that you can buy your first cue after you play 3 games competitively. Then it opens up that you can buy your first cue, and then you can choose. Do you want to buy a break cue because you've seen how your cue breaks, and you've had the opportunity to see how somebody else's cue breaks, probably with 3 games in hand, and if they have a break cue, or do you want to buy one of the other cosmetic game playing cues? Then it's up to the player, and it's affordable. Maybe make it 1,000 coins or 1,500 to buy your first out of your 2,500 starting, to buy your first cue, and then there's an achievement. You bought your first cue, kind of thing. It's an option, or simply have the house cue have the ability to have as powerful break as a break cue. The option is there, depending on how you want to do it. I'm not quite sure why they would still want to make the break cue the factor as to why wouldn't they want to level the break queue when they've leveled everything else? I guess I don't quite understand the reasoning behind that. And if you put it in an achievement system, especially, then people understand that, okay, this is how I can get my first break queue. Or maybe you just flat out earn your break queue, your first queue, after playing 3 games, because it's only 3 games, and everyone will have an opportunity to see what the break queue can do, as opposed to trying to gain enough coins, because I myself have done it where I've intentionally lost games with stakes in order to give somebody coins that I have so that they can buy their break queue. There's workarounds to get around that, but it's relying on the benefit of older players who have more coins maybe than most, especially somebody starting out. So those are my suggestions on how to get a break queue into people's hands and still encourage competitive play. Making the house queue an all-in-one queue where it functions the same as a break queue, as a mass A queue, as a jump queue. It already does everything except for the break. So it just makes logical sense that you would actually level out every aspect of that so that nobody could claim disadvantage once that happens. And if we're looking at the progress bar, as far as progression, hopefully I wasn't too redundant there. If you're looking at achievement systems, devs, if you're watching, it would be cool if there could be icons that could display around that blue bar, um, or maybe beside your player if you decide to look at a player or whatever. Have some options or maybe special cues that signify. But I think the badge system would be best because it's visible all the time above your character's avatar. Um, that you've played 50 games, or maybe that you've run the table off a break and your opponent never got a shot. I mean, I think that would be a great badge. A badge that says, "Hey, I am on top of the global leaderboard, all-time leaderboard." Or I'm Mr. Moneybags, maybe have a little money bag icon. And then if you're on the competitive leaderboards, then you have a special badge that says, "I'm the best player in the game right now." And you can lose that badge if somebody overtakes you. And so maybe it becomes competitive between these players wanting to claim that badge. Just so many different things that can be done that don't have anything necessarily to do with how you play the game. Cue sticks, special cue sticks that show that you've run the table, I think would be a really neat thing, along with the badge, because that's something that you get to keep and you can pull it out and it's special. And it's not something that everybody could just get. You would have to earn that. There's no way to get around running every ball on the table because it's totally dependent upon only your skill. Somebody can't give that to you. And obviously a forfeit wouldn't be allowed to count. I think there's lots of ways to implement an achievement system in that, and it's things that are recognizable to other players. And then maybe one of those placards that's on the wall could be, here's a legend of what all these icons are. And if you see this icon with somebody's achievement system on their badges, then this is what they've done to earn it. I think that would be pretty cool. I would hope that that's what you're introducing with the progression system. And if you're not, maybe it's something that can be considered. Let's see. Is there anything else? Covered the YouTube player, the aim assist, the progression system with the blue bar above players' heads. Talked about the break cue and commenters on my video asking questions about those things. I guess the last thing I'll mention is that I've gone ahead and pre-ordered the new Quest Pro controllers, and I am especially excited to get that for pool in particular, because the new controllers, if you haven't seen the news on them, will have tracking that goes beyond the cameras that are just right in front of you. The Quest has 4 cameras. There's 2 on top and then 2 on bottom, and that's how your controllers are tracked with the rings. So the new controllers will have their own internal tracking. They, just like the headset tracks itself with inside out, the controllers will have the same thing. So that means you can go behind your back. So the issue that we had previously when you're trying to shoot, especially if you want to make a break and you draw your hand way back, you lose your tracking. So my hand is way far behind me and I've left it there for a bit. And as you can see, pushing forward here, my tracking is, out of here. So let's see if I can demonstrate a little better. Okay, there's my hand way far behind me. And you see how janky that is? That's just the lower camera catching it occasionally, just a glimpse. So the new controllers will eliminate that. I'll be able to grab things from behind my back, over my shoulder, behind your head. The camera will no longer need to see that ring. So I'm really excited to see how that's going to work with pool. I think that's going to be great. And also for me, it's going to mean that, oh wow, my hand is really jacked up too. There. Because I need to bring things close to my face to see, the ring often gets in my way. And not having that ring there just means I get another little bit of space. And maybe I'll be able to see things just that much clearer when things get just almost close enough, but not quite close enough for me to be able to read. Then maybe this little extra inch of space will help me out. So for me, it's not just the mechanics involved in being able to play, but it's also going to be, will this make some games more accessible for me? And if I had to replace a controller, a left or a right controller today, I'm probably going to pay $100 for it, if not more, or maybe a little less. But if I'm buying it off of a third-party site that's not Quest, like eBay or something, then you're at the mercy of whoever's selling it. So is it going to have stick drift? Is it going to have this or that issues? Or is it going to be perfectly fine? I mean, it's just, you don't know for sure. Whenever you buy used, you never know. Even if it's certified refurbished, it could still have problems. So for me, spending a little bit extra for 2 controllers, $300, seemed reasonable to me, especially with all the extra features that are involved. I won't get it until December 6th, so I won't be able to attempt and show off any of it, but you can be sure that as soon as I get them and get them set up, that I'll be coming in to see how it goes, and if it makes any difference in my gameplay with better tracking. It can only make things better. So I'm really excited for it. As it stands currently, Quest needs to update to allow those controllers to be accessible with the Quest 2. But they have on their site in the store that they're accessible. There's videos on YouTube from Quest saying this is how you pair your Pro controllers to your Quest 2. So, I mean, they're definitely compatible. There's no question about that. But they haven't enabled the ability to pair them. You can't find the controllers at this time, that day I made this video. At this moment, there's no way to pair the controllers to the Quest 2. They haven't enabled that feature. I don't know why. Maybe they want YouTubers who do have this system early to only focus on the Quest Pro and show what it can do to maybe help drive sales or what have you. And there is a money back policy where I can send them back and get my money back within 30 days. So I feel confident in placing the pre-order. And if it turns out that they don't work with the Quest as advertised, then I can send it back and get my money back, and I won't be out anything at that point. So I didn't see any risk in going ahead and ordering from the Quest store the controllers, although I understand that this option is not going to be something that everybody would either want or could afford. But the benefits were too large for me to say this is something that I don't want. As much as I use my Quest, and how much better it is for me as somebody who does have significant visual impairment, being legally blind, walking with a white cane and all that kind of stuff. So for me, I was able to justify getting the Pro controllers, but not the Pro itself. The headset itself is too much at $1,500 US, or in 1,800 euros, I think. That's too much. I'll wait and see what the Quest 3 looks like whenever it comes out. The pancake lenses, they say the color pops better, and that would definitely be of interest for me. Contrast is better. That's of interest to me. All this based on just my vision, because otherwise I'm very happy with the Quest 2, and I have no reason to replace it. At this point, it works just fine for me. I haven't had any issues. So I'm not one of those who has to go out and get the latest and greatest of everything. But the controllers was something that I saw that I feel could greatly benefit me. So that's my take on the Quest Pro controllers without having seen them or had them in hand or tested, or even been able to see any videos on how it works with the Quest 2. And that's where I stand with that. As soon as I have more information on it, I'll let you know. Hope everyone has a happy Halloween and a good weekend. Bye-bye. Stop recording.